Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Business Talk Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is The Listening Mentor. We're going to be discussing what happens when you have poor sleep and how it affects your listening skills. The Listening Mentor program is a show where my team of elevated listeners come and share their knowledge and expertise to help us be better listeners, whether it's listening internally to ourselves or to others. Each team member has invested their time, their money, their effort to learn how to be an effective listener. And I'm so grateful because these are people you want to get to know. You want to write down their contact information and reach out to them personally and professionally, because they have what it takes to help you, whether it's grow your business, maybe it's understand yourself better, or have a better quality of life. Today, our elevated listener is Caroline Heward. Hi, Caroline.
Hello, good to be here again.
So nice to have you every Friday. I have you down as a permanent Friday, by the way. So
I do forget a date.
Exactly. Yeah, if there's somebody who wants to take you out tonight, they're going to have to wait. No,
that's what happens.
So, Caroline, before we get into sleep and listening skills, I know so many people have problems sleeping. I want people to understand who you are and what it is you do, what Harley Street means, and to be an expert on Harley Street. So I'm going to spotlight you, and I'd love for you to share with our audience, especially people who are joining us for the first time.
Thank you. I'm Caroline Heward, and I'm known as the Harley Street Stress Expert. What does Harley Street mean? Harley Street is the famous street in London that's known Europe-wide, that it's this place that all good doctors and complementary therapists are based. So it's the place to be, it's the destination for good therapies. Why expert? I've been doing this work since 2000, so that's 22 years. And what I do is I help people manage their stress. So if you have anything physical that comes up, like physical ache and pain, or mental anxiety, stress, depression, or behavioral relationship issues, or emotional sadness, loneliness, heartache, whatever it is, I will identify the root cause, and that will lift and make you feel better. It will give you incredible sleep because it's what's keeping you locked in the pain, because the mind keeps going over and over the pain. That is my gift, and I'm offering a free 20-minute consultation over Zoom. And please take advantage of it by emailing me at nomorestress@live.co.uk and book in your free Zoom consultation.
Thank you, Caroline. As you know, I had my second consultation, and we're going to have a third one coming up in the next few days. It's so helpful. And I think even for me, I know that people think, oh, she has everything together, and she has everything together, and he has everything together, but we don't really have everything together all the time. And we need to be able to talk to other people like you who can help us unpack some things, because as life goes on, it's almost like we have a bag and we keep stuffing things in it. And at some point we have to take the bag off and take this stuff out so that we have more room to continue to grow and help others.
We're human, and air is human. And so if we stopped things happening, we wouldn't be alive. So stuff does hit us, and it's really about how we respond, how we react. The world goes on and the challenges are there. It's always in alignment with our response and our reaction that creates our stress.
Absolutely. And we had a show yesterday which was Teach the Teacher. And we had an incredible person on. He is an expert when it comes to decisions. He's a decision scientist. And he really went through this process of how we can learn to make decisions. He's developed an app, 5 questions that you can ask yourself to help make decisions. And what he was talking about was exactly what you said. It's our reaction that really defines everything. So I want to have us talk a little bit about what happens when we don't sleep well, and how does that affect everything, including our ability to listen effectively.
Well, when we don't sleep, it's because our mind keeps going. Now, let me explain a little bit more about what I mean by that. When we're stressed, the mind is the controller of your ship, your body. And so the mind is still going. Even when you go to bed at night, the mind is still active. And so when you lie down, and when you go to bed, you're lying down horizontally, the blood rushes from the head and it goes down to the feet, toes. And the blood is oxygenated, so it flows all the way through the body. So the exhaustion that you felt literally clears by the morning, because the physicality of the exhaustion has gone because you've been lying down and the blood has been oxygenating the whole of your body. But you haven't found the switch to turn off your mind. And so when the mind keeps going, it creates cloud, it creates like a fog in the mind. And so when you wake up in the morning, it's still going. And so there's lack of clarity and focus. And also that will create an inability while the mind keeps going to actually listen. And so you're not even listening to yourself, never mind other people.
I think that is so vitally important what you just shared, because many times we have good intentions. Oh, I'm going to get a good night's sleep tonight. I'm so excited. I'm going to bed early. I drank my water. I turned off my phone. And we get in bed and maybe we fall asleep and we wake up, and all of a sudden the mind, it just will not turn off. We put the pillow over our head. Like, maybe I'm just talking about myself, and you twist and turn and maybe get out of bed. And then it seems to just get worse and worse and worse.
One of the reasons for that is when we were born, we weren't born with a mind. We were born gooing and garing and oohing and cooing.
Some of us are still doing that, Caroline.
And so what happens is that life happens, things happen, events happen, circumstances. We have things going on in our world, in our relationships, with our parents, with our siblings, with our friends. And so things happen. And what happens is, if there's a difficult situation, the body is a natural defense mechanism, and it will protect you. And because it won't want to harm you, it will protect you. So what it does is it shuts down the feelings and emotions. And when it shuts down the feelings and the emotions, they reside in the belly, below the belly button. And when you shut down your feelings and emotions to protect you, and you don't think about it, you don't say, hey, I'm going to shut down my feelings because I can't handle this. What actually happens is the feelings and emotions shut down as a natural defense mechanism. And when that happens, the escape route is the mind. And so then you think, talk, and analyze and converse through everything. Even when you're eating, shopping, walking the dog, watching a movie, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Even if you're on a call, you're still analyzing what the other person's saying. And while you're analyzing and thinking and trying to work out what they're saying, you're actually not listening, because you can't be in 2 conversations. You can't be in a mind conversation where that's your whole movie and you're the main movie star and you have all your supporting cast, but the other person has no idea that that's going on, and they have no idea that you're in that movie. And so when they're having a conversation with you, they will say something, and they might turn around and say, what do you think about that then? And you didn't hear, because you were in your own movie, in your own conversation, and the other person just wasn't aware and doesn't hear your conversation that's internal. And so that creates an ineffective listener.
And Caroline, I really appreciate that. I want to kind of extrapolate that a little. And what I mean is, let's say a person is not getting a good night's sleep, and they have to go to work. They have to be involved, listening, making major decisions. I've seen this happen over and over. I don't drink caffeine anymore. It's been 3 years and 2 months, but I've seen people have sleepless nights and they immediately turn to caffeine. I need something to pick me back up, right? And it's multiple glasses of coffee. And now they're already walking around in a kind of a dazed state, maybe with some brain fog. Now the caffeine's taking them up another level, and now they're going to be a good decision maker. What are your thoughts about that?
They're not, because the mind is still foggy. That the clarity is not there in the way that it could be if there was a good night's sleep. And so the idea is to find a way to switch out of the mind so that you can sleep, because the mind will be tired. That the mind is going because it's a protection mechanism. Only most people haven't found the off switch. And one of the quickest ways to move the mind to silence is to breathe. Is to breathe down into the belly. I know I say this often, but it's one of the most simplest things to do, because when the mind is busy, we're breathing here, in the chest, and so then we only oxygenate the mind. But when we breathe down into the belly, below the belly button, so you extend the belly and breathe in through the nose, and then the belly will naturally retract as you breathe out through the mouth. And if you do even like 5-6 rounds of that breathing, the mind will start to slow down, and it will start to become still. And the only reason that it's active is because when you're busy during the day, the mind is still working in the background, and whatever you push down because you can't handle, when there's not the busyness and the physicality of doing stuff, the distraction mechanisms, the mind has full play. It can just come out and play. And it does. If you don't let your emotions come out, and if you're pushing stuff down, then when you're in bed, there's no escape, there's no distraction, there's no conversation, there's no movie, there's no work, there's nothing to keep it busy and away from the thoughts that you don't want. And so then it's in its playground, it's having fun.
I love that analogy. That's great. Caroline, I'm thinking of something. When people brag about how they don't get a lot of sleep. Oh, I only sleep on 4 hours. I only sleep on 3 hours and I'm good to go. And I remember I was one of those people. This is a long time ago, at least 10 years ago, but I was doing my full-time job. I was going for my doctorate. I had a part-time job as a makeup artist. And I also had a store on eBay, and I was running 60 auctions a week and literally shipping everything out myself. And I was sleeping 3 hours. And at that time, I recall I was also feeling like I was the best person at multitasking. I can use this and that and this and that, and I'm paying attention. And I think when I look back, it explains a lot of what was going on in my life, which was I was not getting enough sleep. I wasn't really listening to anyone effectively because I was in all of my devices. And I probably had very little focus because I was so fragmented in doing all these different things. What are your thoughts about that?
That's absolutely right. Yeah. And I used to be not too dissimilar. I was doing lots of different projects. I really endorse what you're saying. And there's the distraction mechanisms to be that busy. People used to say to me, how'd you fit it all in? And I would be organizing, a dinner, a sort of a big formal dinner, on a project team. And then I would be doing my full-time job. And then I'd be, sort of out with friends, socializing. And then there was always a conference or something on the weekend. There was always something going on. And I was out every night. And, I don't know how I did it, to be honest with you. But I did. People used to say to me when I wrote my newsletter, they just say, well, how do you do all of that? So, I just do.
I think we put ourselves on autopilot like robots. We just go through the motions. And
that is exactly how I describe it. When I speak to clients, I actually say to them, it will feel like you're going through the motions without the emotion. You're literally on autopilot, almost robotic, that you're doing things and not feeling things.
Yes, not feeling. That's because you won't allow yourself the time to feel. As long as you're busy being productive doing things, you don't have the time to actually look at your life and the decisions you're making, because I like to use the word hiding. You're hiding in your busyness.
That's really, really insightful.
Thank you.
That's hiding. Yes, I remember doing a training with someone very recently last year, and he did a card reading for me, and he pulled out a card and he said, "This card says you're hiding." And I says, "Really?" He said, "Yes." And I says, "What do you mean I'm hiding?" He said, "This person is out there, but not out there." And I thought that was really, really insightful. That it was like I was projecting myself in my work, but not actually being my true self. It was fascinating in terms of the way that he brought it up, and that was before I started doing this work with you. So he said, it was it was really fascinating because the things that I was working with were not being seen and not being heard. And so that was in the April. And then in June, I did my first show with you. So I'm very out there now.
How about that? That's amazing.
I'm being seen and I'm being heard.
Well, and I think also, maybe you were aware of it at some level, but you weren't ready to acknowledge it or to hear that information. And when I think back, I'm just laughing now at that same story that I was telling you when I was working my full-time job, doing my doctorate, and I was a makeup artist. I remember, I could see myself now. I was at the makeup counter and I was behind the counter hiding with my, at the time, BlackBerry phone, so I could check my auctions on eBay, because I always had to respond to people immediately. Like if I didn't respond to their question, I was afraid they'd go somewhere else. And I think to myself now, I think how ridiculous the whole thing is, that you put so much pressure. It's just, and people are out there doing it every day. I have to say that now, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I sleep 10 hours. Usually a
Wow.
good 10 hours. I might get up once and that's it.
That's really good.
Yeah.
I am impressed. I mean, I can't do that. I wake up, I go very deeply into a sleep, and then I wake up at about 2 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock. And then what I do, as you know, at 2 or 3 o'clock, I'm like sort of on the computer again.
I know, like, what is she doing up at 3 a.m.?
That's because I've been to sleep already, and I wake up. The planetary energy has a higher vibration at that time. It's very calm and it's very quiet, and I seem to wake up. And so I fell asleep about, I don't know, sometimes 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and then I'll wake up. I'll start. I think, well, I didn't do some emails, and I need to just do some posts, and I need to respond to this. And I thought, well, I'll just do that because I'm awake. And then when you come in and you say, well, when'd you sleep? Well, I fell asleep when I woke up.
So, I think that brings up an important topic, which is, if we look at, instead of poor sleep, effective patterns of behavior to help us sleep. I have read, and I'm sure you've heard, that you shouldn't be looking at any screens for at least an hour before you go to bed. I don't know what some of the other suggestions are. Last night I did something for the first time. I've been thinking about doing it for the last month and a half, and finally I said to myself, are you going to do it, or are you just going to keep thinking about it? So around, I don't know, 9 o'clock last night, I decided to go for a walk, and it's around the neighborhood, so it was safe. So I had my Apple Watch, and I was timing myself, and I thought, I need 50 calories. Let me get the 50 calories. And I'm going to do it every night. And I don't know if that helps, because I just started it last night. But I do think that using that physical energy, it also helped calm my mind. And then I'm out in nature, and because I feel safe where I'm walking, I think it's helpful. I wouldn't suggest it for everyone, but
it is. It is. What's happening there when you're walking? You're actually going into your body. So your body is. So when you're working out, and when you're walking or when you're running, you're putting the energy into your body. And when you're still and sitting and thinking, the energy, the oxygen isn't going to your feet and to your legs. And so you'll almost feel like a disconnection. And it's one of the reasons why you'll probably feel really good when you've done a workout or a swim class or an aerobic class or a weights class, because it makes you be in your body, and you have to breathe in a certain way. So you're oxygenating your body. And when you're thinking and sitting and talking, what's happening is that you're still. And so the breathing for most people is very shallow. And so then you're really feeding the mind if you're in a shallow breath. But when you're working out, you have to breathe in a deeper way. When you're walking, you're actually becoming more grounded, more present to your body, which is why you will feel better.
That makes a lot of sense. I think an observation I had yesterday, and I always talk about the workout that I do, it's a specific place. I'm not going to say it now because of the story I'm sharing. But what I think is interesting is they play very loud music. And a lot of times I don't know what the music is, and the lights are very low. There's sort of a blue tint. And long story short, the machines are close to one another. So it's not possible to completely ignore what's going on around you. And my mind is busy when I first start, and they say, we're going to turn the lights low and we're going to start the workout. And I am able to completely clear my mind, even of the music, unless it's a song I know. And I am totally focused on my breathing. And even when the workout becomes very challenging and I'm shaking back and forth, I say to myself, it's only temporary. And by going through it and not breaking, you're going to be stronger. Whereas the people around me, they're breaking all the time. I'm thinking, why did you show up? And then I think, I'm not judging, but you spent $35 and you're hardly doing anything because you're looking at your phone, you're playing with your hair. But anyway, I'm able to put all of that out. And I believe it's because of the ability to breathe deeply and to tell myself that whatever I'm feeling physically is temporary.
What you're describing is being present. You're being totally present to where you are and what you're doing and your body. You're experiencing in the moment that you're in, where you've described that somebody's on their phone, somebody's in there mucking with their hair, somebody's, sort of tripping out and not doing it. They're not being present. So they're distracted with their phone. They're distracted with, sort of something else that they're doing. And so they're not present. So it'll be harder. And this is how I do my dance meditations. I'm literally in the dance and I feel everything. My body is in an ecstatic state of bliss because I'm feeling the rhythm. It's like I become one with the song. I become one with the music and I feel everything. That's why I do my gong baths. That's why I do all my meditations. I love sound because we are vibration. And so when you're doing your workout, it's exactly the same. When you're present, you feel everything. And then your body knows what's good for it and it will want to stay in a space where it feels good.
Thank you so much for summarizing that. I think that's exactly what's going on, because I've already made up my mind before I walk in the door that regardless of who is doing whatever, because, other people's behavior can be distracting when you're in a small space, that I am just there to get the best workout that I can. So I listen to myself and I just repeat that over and over. And finally, I don't even need to repeat it because it just becomes innate.
I've got a good one for you on that.
Let's hear
to
it.
decide. What you've done is you've decided. You said, this is what I'm going to do. And then you go ahead and do it. And
Yes.
that's what it is. It's a decision. You've made a decision. This is what I want to get from it. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how it's going to be. Now, other people, what you've described is they've not made that decision or that commitment. When I do my meditation dances, I'm dancing for about 2 hours, almost nonstop, and I'm getting really hot. And I'm sweltering. I'm in my living room and I'm getting really, really hot. But I'm doing it because I've made a decision to do it because I know how good it is. I know what I'm going to get. And I'm literally shaking, vibrating with the vibrations that my body's going through in terms of the experiences. So ecstatic dances that at the end, I mean, I'm literally vibrating all over in ecstasy, in an internal ecstasy, not from a place of, what we think of ecstasy, but in an internal space of euphoric, feeling really, really incredibly amazing euphoria. And it's not with taking any substances or alcohol or being on your phone or social media. It's none of those things. It's actually devoid of all of those things. It's about being totally present and in tune and allowing your body to move to the vibration of the music.
Yes. And I think also what you're describing, I think that in many cases in life, we go through life at a surface level, right? We just show up, we're not really there. Yeah, I'll do this, but I'm not really present. But when we take the time to commit to being fully present, whether it's with listening, sleeping, our lives reflect that.
Absolutely. When people ask me, how do you meditate? I could never meditate. People say that to me. I don't know how to meditate. I don't have time to. And here is how I describe it. And it's really simple, because when I've gone through this description, you'll say, what do you mean? How come? So I'm going to describe it. I shop in meditation. I cook in meditation. I eat in meditation. I shower in meditation. I dance in meditation. I'm on a phone call in meditation. I'm watching a movie in meditation. So what do I really mean? What I really mean is I'm being present. I'm not anywhere else. I'm not distracted doing anything else. I'm actually only doing that one thing. And what that does is it entirely takes over, and you become one with the experience that you're in. So even when I'm having dinner with somebody, I'm in a meditation because I'm being present with them. And then time goes really quickly, because it's a sensory experience rather than a thinking and an analyzing experience. It's an experience of the body and the mind being still. And so that's what meditation really is. And when you've been to a good party and you've had a good sing-song with some friends, or you've had a good dance, or you've had a really good, watched a really nice movie and you've really got involved in it, that's what it is to be in a meditation, to be present. And then life is so much richer, and it's so much more empowering, and it gives you so much more of a fulfilling experience in the experience that you're in.
And imagine a world where we all were living like that.
I frequently have people that I've gone out to dinner with, and they've said, I don't know what it is about you, but time seems to fly. It seems to go, that in the restaurant, they're putting up the chairs, on the tables, and they've cleaned all around us, and we're the last person.
Lights are out. Please put up the close sign as we leave.
And I'm not looking. I'm totally present with the other person, whether it's with a friend, a girlfriend, whether I'm with a group of people, whether I'm with, a man friend. It doesn't matter who I'm with. It's always the same. I'm always the last one at the restaurant. And it's because some people actually have described it as intoxicating. When you're really present, it becomes absolutely intoxicating to be in that space.
Because it's so unusual. It really is. I remember I dated someone, I'm not going to mention any time frames or names, but this person was always on the phone, on the phone. We're at the dinner table on the phone. We're at home on the phone. It just got to the point where, and today I would never put up with that. And I wouldn't do that to somebody else. But it is interesting to see how we evolve and can look at our own behavior patterns and say, you know what, this isn't working. I need to change it, or this is not working with that person. I need to let that person go.
I had a date a very long time ago, kind of almost 2 decades ago. And he bought me my drinks, and, we chose lunch, and he was on his phone, sending messages. And at the end of the hour, because he only had an hour, he was in the city, and he said, right then, babe, gotta go. I said, you're never going to do that again. He said,
Or
what's the matter? I bought you drinks, I bought you lunch, what's the matter with you? And I said, you had lunch with your phone. You didn't have lunch with me.
exactly.
He didn't realize, and because I pulled him up on it, because I couldn't believe it. I says, well, what was that? That wasn't, you weren't with me, you were on your phone. And he says, don't be so silly, this is how I am. I says, well, you don't do that again. My time's precious, and I'm not meeting you and for you to be on your phone. And he did learn, he did evolve from that. And he says, oh, I remember, you don't like that. It's something we've become. It's another distraction mechanism.
Yes.
And while you're in your call, or on your, doing a text message or responding to your social media, so while you're preoccupied or distracted in the phone, whatever you're doing, you're actually not listening. And so that makes it a very poor interaction. And you're also disconnected with the person. You're not with them. And the person will feel it, the person that you're with. I mean, that's why I said to him, well, I'm not going to come out again and do that, because you had lunch with your phone. He didn't comprehend what I was saying, because that was his normal way. And there are many people that are like that. And it is that we've evolved technologically in such a big way. When I was young, we would use the red telephone boxes to make our calls. Or we had the phone with the curly wire.
Yes.
Glued into the wall.
We have a picture of that. I don't know if I have available right now, but those telephone booths do they still have them? Or are they still there? Like you can't use them, but are they still around the city?
I've seen a few dotted around, because there must be a bit of relic now. And I remember queuing outside, having my 10p's, to make my calls. But you didn't have the opportunity then to be distracted. You were in a call, and you purposely made the call. You didn't have the distraction of having the phone in your hand, to be in conversation with somebody while you're face to face with someone. So we've evolved technically a long, long way, but we've almost gone backwards, de-evolved in terms of our human connection. And, we need human interaction and human connection so much more than perhaps what people really realize. And that's really sometimes, what's missing in a relationship that's difficult, because we're preoccupied with our gadgets. I don't have a lot of gadgets. I have enough that I need, to do the things I need to do. And I don't have a big entertainment, system. And when people do come to see me, and they come to my home, they go, you can tell a man doesn't live here. It's all a bit feminine and red and plants. And
I want to just touch on something that you mentioned before, because I think it's really important. You mentioned about this gentleman with whom you're having dinner, and he said, or lunch, and he said to you, but I bought you the drinks and I bought you the food. And I think back, there's been many years of my life when all I wanted were bags and shoes. Can you buy me bags and shoes? I'll buy myself bags and shoes. And I think really I just wanted to be loved. And my point is that I feel like so much of our insecurity or our focus on materialism is because we don't love ourselves, or we are not getting the love we need from others. And so we substitute it with these things. And whether it's a gadget, because we don't actually want to do the work to sit face and face with someone. I think this is a big area of opportunity for all of us.
I quite agree with you. And what happens is we externalize. We have a sense of fulfillment when we've got, as you said, a new pair of shoes or a handbag, or it could be, for me, I had a dress a week. I was known as the girl in the dresses. Don't wear them very often these days, but I always had a different dress, every week when I went out, dancing. And so it was, that was my thing, and I was known for it. I'd always look very glamorous. That was just that was just my statement. That was how I showed up. And, you know, I made the clothes me rather than me be me. You know, it was all about how I looked, how I dressed, how I showed up in front of other people. And, you know, that's something that we do when there's an insecurity.
Definitely. Next to me here is a whole case of shoes, right? I have this case built for shoes. And now I don't even wear any of them. Look at this. I had to have these shoes.
Oh my God.
I had to have this one, right?
Wow.
I think you can see where the price tag was. I haven't even worn the thing. Where am I going? The point is that to me, it represents, I'm thinking of it as art now. That's what I'm looking at, as this is a case of art that no one sees. But it's all about needing to look at your own life. And that's where I was. But where I am today is a very different place. I'm happy to wear my sneakers with this dress. I don't care anymore because I feel better about myself. I have more self-esteem now because of what I've accomplished for myself, not for anyone else. But in many years past, I was looking for that external validation. And I think that when you have your own internal validation, you are a better listener because you're not distracted by all those other dangling carrots, so to speak, or I have to monopolize the conversation, or I have to cut you off and tell you why my story is more important than yours. But we see a lot of that in this world today.
That's very, very true. And when you find a place of, you know, dare I say, loving yourself, you know, actually literally falling in love with yourself. And I had a long journey to get to that place, a very long journey, because I didn't really even like myself. I was very external. And now I do a lot of things that are very internal because it makes me feel good. Whereas I was doing things that made me look good in the external world. Now I do things that make me feel good internally. And when you literally fall in love with yourself, literally love yourself unconditionally, warts and all, then what happens is you emanate that vibration and other people literally fall in love with you, whether they're female, the same sex, or whether they're the opposite sex, it doesn't matter. And what I mean by fall in love with you, I don't mean, you know, sort of in a relationship, you know, in a dating way. What I mean is that, you know, I frequently have conversations where, you know, other women will say, you know, I love you, or I really love having you around, or I love your energy. And it's, you know, the love, it's a love, and it's not a love that's, you know, sort of, it's a pure love. It's a love from the heart, like the purest love on earth. It's like when you look at a baby, all there is pure love. There's nothing else. There's no condition when you're looking at a child. There's just a pureness of heart and love. And that's when you get to that space, then all those other things melt away.
Very well said. And a great way to end our show today.
Are we there already?
I know, we're there already. We have another 2 after this. But no, I agree with everything that you're saying. And I'm hoping that people who are watching, whether it's on the live or the replay, I found that most people are watching on the replay, which is great. We don't care when you watch, but we hope that you find value and learn to be present. It's so important. When you're present, you can be a better listener. When you're a better listener, you're going to have deeper relationships, more authentic conversations, and there's going to be less angst and animosity and judgment. That's really what it's about. Caroline, I know that you shared in the beginning about this fabulous free 30-minute Zoom stress buster. I'm going to spotlight you again for people who are listening on Business Talk Radio and cannot read the banner. Can you please share with them again what people need to do to connect with you?
I'm offering a free 30-minute stress buster Zoom consultation. That's if you have any physical, emotional, mental stress going on. So anything you're complaining about that's causing you sleepless nights or causing you to complain. I'm offering a free telephone consultation on Zoom, which will literally obliterate your stress. To book, email me on No More Stress, as the 3 words, no more stress, at live.co.uk.
Thank you so much, Caroline. And it's always a pleasure. I love seeing you on Fridays. So you can find Caroline here on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Caroline is in the UK, in London. And thank you for spending part of your Friday night with us.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, Dr. JACALYN. Always.
Thank you. We'll see you again next week, Caroline.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you next week.
Thank you. Bye. Well, thank you again, everyone, for watching. I just want to share with you, if you're interested in becoming an elevated listener, you can join our team here at USA Global TV. What does that look like? That means you have to do some work. Sorry, you've got to learn how to listen. And what that means is that you can take our courses. They're called The Power of Listening, and they're available on Eventbrite. You can also book them through my website, which is drjacalyn.com. So just so you understand, I have 2 websites, which is usaglobaltv.com, which is for this platform. And then my personal website is drjacalyn.com. And there on that website, you can find information about my upcoming book being launched April the 4th, as well as our listening courses. This is a brand new one that we have, The Power of Listening, Part 4, The Transition, Facing the Shadows of Ourself. I am hosting this with Madeline Chan. She's an internationally renowned singer-songwriter, producer, and author. This course will teach you how to transition from the 3D egocentric world to the 5D heartfelt, leading with your heart world. But what are you supposed to do in between? You realize that you're living in an egocentric world or making decisions based on ego, and you want to start leading with your heart. But in between, there's the transition. There's the work that has to take place. So that's what this course is all about. If you go to my website or you go to Eventbrite and you look up this course, The Power of Listening Part 4, we are offering a wonderful promo code, which I will put here, promo code 3D5D. You can enter that code and you can get a discount. So I'll put that up now. All right, beautiful. And finally, I want to share that if you are interested in becoming part of our team here, you can take these courses. Hold on while I get this off. So here we have the Power of Listening Foundational Courses, Parts 1 and 2. They're the courses that you need to take and then pass a quiz in order to be part of our team. So what we've done is combined the 2 courses into one 3-hour session, and then you will get a 7-question quiz afterwards. And when you get 100%, you then can join our team. By joining our team, that means that you can be on this show, The Listening Mentor. And in addition, you will have your picture and your bio on my personal website, drjacalyn.com, and on usaglobaltv.com. All right, we're going to take off for right now as we have another show coming up. I'm going to leave you with a beautiful music video from one of our guests from yesterday. Her name is Lindsay. You can find her over on iTunes. She's got plenty of gorgeous music. This is her latest single. She is in Malta, and this is at the top of the charts there. It's being launched on radio stations in the UK, and I just downloaded all of her music today, so I hope that you will as well. Again, it's Lindsay. Thank you so much, and I'll see you back shortly.
Never thought that this would be part of the plan. You got me falling to my knees, can barely stand. And every time I get myself back up again, you always seem to wanna bring me down. What can I do to convince you I'm telling the truth? You don't wanna listen, so what can I do to come